We're very proud to present you a champion. And this series of presentations will end into a panel. And we will have the first one-on-ones, or in this case, two-on-two, where we have companies debating about who takes the market, champions and challengers. And we start with the champion, the head of digital, Mr. Dr. Pertlwieser from Deutsche Bank. Thank you very much for joining NOAH. Thank you.
Yeah, Marco, thank you very much. Hello, everybody. Great pleasure for me to be here, to have the opportunity to first share my views on the impact of digital on the financial industry overall, and secondly, to outline a bit what is the digital strategy of Deutsche Bank and how do we want to shape the digital banking of the future. I think in many parts outside and inside the industry, it's common sense in the meantime that the changes to come over the next 10 years will be less visible, but much more fundamental than the financial crisis. And I like to say it's not anymore about the digitalization of the banks, it's about banking in a digital world. I personally believe that financial industry is and will be a very interesting and attractive place to be. And I think the large investments into Fintech is only one very strong argument that this thesis probably holds true. But I think the overall competitive landscape in financial services will change dramatically. Also in financial services, like in many other industries, the platform strategies and the so-called ecosystems will be the superior strategy. And therefore, it's of utmost importance that banks or insurance companies own the customer relationship. I don't think that an infrastructure back-end play strategy is valid for more than a couple or very few numbers of players. So it's all about customer interaction, it's all about a customer relationship. I think for asset managers and for insurance companies that are also part of the financial industry, strategic choices are even more fundamental. Their business models are mainly B2B, and the customer relationship is often not with these kind of players, it's with their bank partners or with the third-party distribution players. And the recent acquisitions of robo-advisors, for example, by global asset managers, are in my eyes the first signals that these companies start to go B2B2C with the potential B2C. And the very interesting question then will be, how do they find the right balance between cooperation and competition with the banks? Because in these days, they are their partners, they hold the customer relation. And what I also believe is, in terms of insurance, I think digital will respur the renaissance of bank insurance. 10 years ago, this was the hottest topic in our industry. 10 years later, I think digital will make it a success. With the banks in the strategically superior position, they own the customer relationship. And I think here InsurTech will play a very crucial role. And this will, from my point of view, dramatically also change the landscape there. Overall, Fintech is, in my eyes, the big driver for all the structural changes in the industry and in the consequence of the market shares. Obviously, or openly speaking, I'm skeptical that a relevant number of fintechs really will win big market shares as long as they do it on a standalone basis. In my eyes, in the eyes of my banking colleagues, it's much more the global media, the internet, and the technology companies who will be the new entrants in the markets, and banks will have to compete with it. Overall, I think banks have to go decisively for the customer relationship. We have to build up leading customer services. We have to build up these kind of ecosystems. And all these banks who will do that, they will win the market shares, they will grow, and in the end, they will not do it on their own. They will do it in close cooperation with their partners. And I think here, technology companies and fintechs play a crucial role. So when we started our digital journey 18 months ago, we defined kind of a strategy, kind of strategic core beliefs, and we outlined the high level, however, in my eyes, very strategic roadmap. The three core beliefs are, first of all, banks have to be relevant and excite their customers every day. I know this is a tough one, but customer journeys change significantly. And in a digital world, corporations who are not continuously relevant for their customers, they quickly became irrelevant. Second, Profit pools will shift from the producers to the distributors, as it's the customer relationship and not the balance sheet that will separate the winners from the laggards. And I think business models across industries who are successful in digital, they have all one asset in common. It's the customer relationship. And I think transactions in other industries like media, like utilities, can all be seen in front of this core belief. And the third one, also a very fundamental one for banks, is for sustainable profitability and for growth, bank has to do two things in parallel. First of all, we have to digitally transform our core business, because the profitability of the core business is the premise in order to fund all the digital investments. And secondly, we have to invest in a portfolio of strategic options, because only who has strategic optionalities will be able to grasp first mover advantage, and this is the premise to win market shares. Both things are fundamental changes, not only in terms of strategy, but also in terms of mindset. But these are the guardrails we have set 18 months ago, and I think it's always a good thing if 18 months later, the guardrails are still consistent, are still robust, and they build the foundation for this three-step approach you can see on the right-hand side. The first 18 months, it was all about customer experience, it was about front-end innovation, and it was on building up the digital capabilities, because this we need in order to go to the next step, in order to transform the core business. When I speak about core business, then obviously this is private banking business, wealth management business, commercial banking business. These are the strengths Deutsche Bank has today, and I think it's extremely important to leverage digital to strengthen the strengths, and therefore we are going now the next step. Overall, we invest 750 million, 200 out of this amount this year, 1/3 in new back-end systems that are the premise to provide digital services, 1/3 in process redesign, and 1/3 in new products and new services, in order to grow the business, in order to become much more efficient, and I think this is the most important one, in order to make new businesses in banking and beyond. And therefore, we strongly believe in these ecosystems, which is the key topic of the conference. And I think we are already well positioned. First elements we have already launched, and much more will come. When we at Deutsche Bank speak about digital ecosystem, then it's a couple of elements. First of all, for sure, it's the mobile app, because this is the entrance to the digital world. Our mobile app we have launched this year in April. It's AP-based technology. Every 4 to 8 weeks, the colleagues launch new innovations. So there will be an NFC-based mobile payment solution in the third quarter. The digital safe that we co-develop with D-Swiss, with a Fintech from Switzerland, will be launched in Q4. And I think most important to be relevant is that every customer will be able to fully customize its app to his preferences and to his needs. Core of the ecosystem is, in my eyes, the multi-bank aggregation that for Deutsche Bank will be empowered by André Bajorat and Figo. The teams are already working on it. We try to push it until the end of Q3. Maybe it will be the beginning of Q4. And the great thing about this is we ask our customers, are you interested in a service where you can see all your financial, regardless whether they are with Deutsche Bank or with a competitor? And they said clearly yes. Customers do not want 10, 15, 20 different apps. They want one service where they can see all and everything. And the second point that is even more crucial is that many of the customers will only aggregate once. So we have to be quick in order to win the market shares and in order to be here first mover. So on top of it, we will open up our product portfolio to third-party products. One example is the deposit solution, the deposit aggregator, we together with the colleagues from Deposit Solutions. And for me, the core point, I often got asked, what is the role of the advisors in the future? And I can only clearly say, we believe that the competence of our advisors are and will be one of the core assets for us as a bank. And we do not see that digital will eliminate the need for physical or personal advisory. It will complement it. It will even enhance it. And therefore, I think we are well prepared to bring all the things together. This we cannot do on our own. That's obvious. Therefore, we need strong partners. Our aspiration is to be the #1 banking partner for the leading fintechs, as fintechs are a core pillar of our research and development. And this is the final page. I think in many other industries, R&D is something very, very common. Unfortunately, not in banking and insurance yet. And therefore, we are about to build up a very systematic research and development. On the one hand side, research. These are, for example, the 3 innovation labs we have opened throughout the last half year. One in Berlin here with Luc Merichaud. Then we have a lab in London, mainly focused on blockchain, and one in the Silicon Valley, mainly focused on machine learning and artificial intelligence. And I think, therefore, we are well prepared to see the trends that will shape the banking of the future. And on the other hand side, we need development capabilities. Therefore, we are about to open up our digital factory in Berlin, where we will have 400 to 500 people from inside the bank, from outside the bank, fintech partners, in order just to have the productivity to bring all the things I've presented before life. I think overall, digitalization is a great, maybe even a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. I think it has never been that exciting, that fascinating to be in banking as it's in these days. Creating digital ecosystem is about innovation, it's about new businesses, it's about new business model. I think this is just great, and at the end, it's with our partners, for our customers. Thank you very much.